That's better. Good morning, everybody. It's Alexis. And, well, today, I guess I'm gonna talk a little bit about I'm 10 months HRT. Don't mind my little fella. My cameraman. I'm just gonna kind of put him back up here. Ooh. Not so good at climbing. But anyways, so 10 months. Pretty exciting. And I will say I've gone through a lot of changes. And one of those is mental. I've said this before, and I'll always say it because I always care about it, but it's your mental health. HRT does come with its risks, and one of those risks is mental health. It can give, symptoms of depression, especially if you've already had, depression in the past. It's highly possible. So I want anybody and everybody out there to please always stay on top of mental health. If you feel like you need somebody to talk to, I know it's hard sometimes, and I'll say I've had a therapist for, I don't know, maybe the last like 4 to 5 months, and I got it through BetterHelp. This is not a paid ad, this is just a personal recommendation. I look forward to my sessions every week. You get one live video session every week, and in my opinion, it's pretty affordable. It's helped me out a lot, and I just want everybody to be very vigilant of their mental health. That's very important, and there's there's enough stuff going on these days. Nobody needs to carry that burden, and whatever burden you are carrying, you don't need to carry it alone. There's always somebody out there who will listen. I've heard in many videos, all it takes is 13 minutes to get anybody out of that mindset. So, somebody cares. Anyways, mentally, I have had some depressive tendencies, not like really bad depression, but just like little spouts of, insecurities, anxieties, kind of overwhelming me, and that's here or there, neither here nor there. But there's also something everybody should be aware of, which is the mental changes that could possibly happen. This is not true for every case or every person who is doing an HRT regimen, but there's a possibility that if you have underlying thoughts that you're not really familiar with, there's a good chance that, for me, for example, I have never looked at myself as attracted to another male, like a relationship. I never seen myself as someone who could hug and kiss another guy from day to day. but that's changed a little bit over the time frame. Um, like it doesn't seem to be a bother to me as much anymore. Or at least so much of like a stipulation of romance, I suppose. So that's been a change. I have became more attracted to males along the lines of like a relationship matter. I see it more as a possibility, as beforehand it was more of like, there's that word that you can't say on YouTube, otherwise they get mad at you and you might get a bad mark. But fun play. That's kind of how I've always seen males in the past. Just as something fun. So that's something that's changed. Another thing that's changed, especially lately, I've heard a lot of people talk about, they get emotional, and it's like one of the earlier symptoms or side effects. But that's only just recently started to become a thing for me. It's like I don't just cry over anything, but there's, things that you see like happy, inspirational, or, things that like you see. I know I watch some videos about relationships that are like extremely happy, giggly, laughing all the time. I'm sure you know what videos I'm talking about. And that kind of chokes me up a little bit because I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Um, or like sad videos about people's deaths or whatnot. It's just I get choked up a lot easier than I did before, which was like never. It's like I got mad, or I got sad, I got mad, and maybe explosive, like. But definitely became a little bit more emotional, more calm. I definitely don't have those bouts of testosterone rage. I have no idea what mine is, but it's probably like um so I have been taking a test trial of a progesterone, and you hear a lot of mixed comments on that. Some people say it has no effect at all on them. Some people say that it absolutely has a big effect on breast development, and they say it could help with the fullness of the breast. I can't say that for sure. I've only just came up, I think like 24 days on progesterone, but I am still taking the estradiol and a T blocker. I don't really remember how to say that. They come crazy. It's not the spironolactone. But anyways, so with that being said, libido has went down a lot. For me, erections kind of get hard to get. And yeah, the finishing, yeah, so I'm still at that point where it confuses me because it never really finishes. Or at least not how I'm used to. But yes, so ejaculation, there's like nothing. I haven't even produced a drop. I know some people are like, oh, cleanup is easy, it's only a couple drops. Cleanup is easy, there's no drops. Um, Either that or I just ain't trying hard enough. I don't know. Uh, but anyways, breast development. I can't really show that on YouTube. My video will definitely get flagged, but definitely, like, I'm really happy with what I'm getting. I'm not wearing anything. You could kind of see that it definitely has made like a cleavage for the most part. At least that's what someone else has said. Um, Becoming substantially harder to not show, even through baggier clothes. I can't wear tight shirts without it really showing and being obvious. Um, so with that being said, I've never really like fully came out as non-binary, primarily preferring the pronouns of she, her, but I have a feeling maybe about 10 more months from now, I'm not going to have much of a choice in the matter. Um, so anyways, that's another side effect is the breast development. You're definitely going to get that, and it's non-reversible unless it's surgical. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. Maybe a little bit, through exercise. You could probably like beefing it up a little bit. But yeah, not going away. Also, skin softness. I've definitely gotten a softer skin. I don't moisturize nearly as much as I should. That's, just something I'm pretty bad at. I do like a lot of facial cleansing. And I wax my beard ever so often. Of course I shave when it starts to come back like peach fuzz. But definitely wax. I like to wax because when you wax the beard, it pulls it out at the root. And when your hair grows back, it's like little baby hairs again, very fine, small little hairs. So it's harder to see. It's when you shave that first time that everything, that's when you kind of get your shadow. I don't like the shadow. That's hard to get rid of. I'm not good at the makeup. Um, it takes me a while, but I don't think it's bad. It just takes me a while. I'm not that good at it. So, skin softness definitely has happened. My face doesn't look as coarse or rigid, I guess, as you could say. A little bit of fat redistribution, which is also to be expected. Now, it happens differently in everybody, but I have gotten a bigger butt from what I've heard. I feel it when I put my pants on. Yeah. Um, my hips a little bit, not as much as I want, but hips, that's a hard one. You want hips to do squats or lunges or something. I'm, I guess, too lazy for that. I just like to jog, um, which isn't a bad thing, but not so much for hip development. I have slimmed a little at the waist, but the breast kind of, it kind of makes a little bit of that hourglass shape. But again, to each their own. It's going to affect everybody differently. So, with that being the case, I'm going to kind of go into supplements. Now, this is something that you have to kind of keep track for yourself. As you're going through, you want to make sure and stay on top of how you're feeling, physically, mentally. You really want to be on top of all of that. If you're feeling a certain way, you're starting to get leg cramps or something, or, you're getting headaches, or you're feeling like joint pain, look into that, because through HRT it affects your hormones. Your hormones affect so much in your body, and a lot of that could be the type of vitamins that it utilizes in your body. And you might have to take something to help your body supplement, like such as maybe iron or calcium, magnesium, potassium. You never know. But, look into it. See, what is a calcium deficiency due to a body. If it does something, then you really want to, do something about that. Because, say calcium deficiency, and your teeth start falling out your mouth. Nobody wants that. So make sure you keep on top of how you're feeling. Will y'all stop jumping on my hood? Thank you. They love jumping on my hood. I don't care most times, but they get a little overboard. Hey! Hey! The square nuts? Really? No, come on, put those down. You're gonna throw them into something. I see it already. Kids, I love them. But, okay, so I've gone through quite a few things. Libido, breast development, skin tenderness, firmness, blah, blah, blah. Hair. Okay, so my hairline is definitely growing back. A lot of what's receded is like unseeding. I guess I can't say reseeding again. Just in a different complex, but it's regrowing through parts that have receded in the past. Super excited, and honest, it's not a mistake. Like, I've dyed my hair twice in the last 2 months, and I have some gray hairs that are growing out in front of it, like full gray hairs. Hair's growing faster. I wish it would grow faster than it is, but it's not. Time will get it there. And that's another thing. Time. Don't expect anything to be immediate. You're going to see some changes quicker than others, but don't just give up because you're not getting your immediate gratification. You got to kind of wait and let it happen. It's not an overnight thing. Skin softness, libido change, breast tenderness. Tenderness, that's something I forgot to talk about. It is not nearly as much as it used to be, but it's like every other day. Square nuts? Yes. Can we go put that back, please? Come on. Go put those back. I know where you got them from, in the back of the truck. Go put them back. Tenderness. It was every day for about 2 months. Now it's like every other day, every other 3 days. It just kind of spikes up and gets really tender. So, that kind of sucks. You're trying to do something and you pick something up and you just get a little pressure. And you're like, ow, I don't want to say something too loud, but, pain's still there. So, yeah, is there a way I can look at if y'all have commented anything? I'm sorry, if anybody has commented anything, I can't really see it. I'm not on a computer, I am on my phone. So, there was one time I was able to figure that out. You know what? Give me 1 second. I will be right back. Hi. Panda Thing says hi too. A little shy right now. Don't mind him. Her. I'm pretty sure it's a girl. From what I've read. But anyways, I'm going to actually try to get on and yes. Okay, no comments. Oh, come on. I can't watch my own video. That's crazy. I don't know. I'm kind of new to this, so I apologize. So anyways, that's a lot, or pretty much the majority of what I could think about for HRT effects, side effects, mentally and physically. Verbally, that's just gonna take time. You just gotta work on that. I don't have a vocal coach. But the one thing I do to try to raise my voice to a higher tone is I just, sing to a female's voice and try to match, her voice, her tone, and you really want to try to make sure you're not trying too hard. If you're hitting like a higher note, and you're over here like really trying, it's obvious. You just want to kind of get off of the roof. Get off the roof. You just really want to be, just natural. I'm sure I don't know exactly how I sound. I know how I sound to myself, and it still sounds like a little guyish. I don't know. But, I mean, it takes time. I don't do a whole lot of vocal training. I'm lazy in that area. It's hard. It's really hard. And you start hitting these higher notes, and your voice, your throat starts kind of aching a little bit. It's hard. But anyways, so that pretty much covers it. 10 months. I'm pretty excited. 2 more months to a year. November. It's like, I don't know, November 19th, November 21st, something like that. I really don't remember. Wicked. Such a good movie. Coming out with the second one. Coming up in November. Right around my first year. I'm probably going to do that for like a celebration. I'm probably going to watch that in the movies. Loved the first one. Watched it super late. But loved it. So, I guess at this point, I could talk a little bit about my life. I got my kids back there, twins. Yes, I have kids. Me and my ex split up about 3 months ago. June, July, August, September. Okay, like 2 months ago. And yeah, she just got back from July 4th vacation with her mom, and she was cheating with who I thought was my best friend, like 60 feet down the hallway back. You know, go figure. Cool. Those. Got rid of both of them. So that's a plus. That's a positive. Negative, I don't get to see my boys every day. Hi, dude. Yeah, you looking at the camera? Wave. Hi.
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 Oh, he's very photogenic. Ain't that right, Bobo? Will you get off of that roof? No.
Yeah.
My truck is okay, but not on the work truck. Get off. Come on. Come on. Front or back. I don't care. So, I get to see these lovely... Hey! Hey! I get to see these lovely boys about, once every week. Generally, Friday, Saturday, drop them off Sunday. But sometimes it might be Saturday because, just stuff happens, life, work. I do have a full-time job Monday through Friday. I work every day, Monday through Friday. So, that's good for me. I know there's a lot of people out there struggling to get jobs and whatnot. Best thing I could say is just stay motivated, stay hopeful and optimistic. It's going to happen. You'll get one. It might not be the one that you want, but just, keep pushing. I got my apartment in 13 days. I was astounded that I did it that fast, but, when push comes to shove, if you persevere, you will accomplish. You'll succeed. You'll always have to have that mindset. You cannot give up. And anything in life. Because it's not going to be easy. This life wasn't meant to be easy. Think about it 2,000 years ago when they were like hunters and gatherers and stuff. You think that was easy? Heck nah. They were fighting for their life on a daily, not against people. Unfortunately, a lot of people got to fight for their life every day against people these days. It's freaking ridiculous. But, back then they were fighting to save their lives against bears and coyotes and buffaloes and wildebeests. And it wasn't meant to be easy. And that's a problem I feel like a lot of people have these days, is they expect things to be just too easy. You gotta fight for what you want. No matter what it is, you gotta fight for what you want. Kind of like, somebody just messaged me. Whatever. But, wow, that was distracting. Anyways, got my apartment. Working on trying to get my trailer because that's being held against me by who I thought was my best friend, who obviously isn't. So, I'm probably going to be taking that to Superior Court, Superior Court or District, because my trailer was valued over $10,000, so that's out of small claims. Unfortunately, that's going to have to be something I need to start. But, it's my trailer. Like, I'm being held against my own personal property. And that's not cool. So, just like, in my personal life, just a lot of issues. But the one thing I could say, super happy I got her out of my life. She has been very spiritually and emotionally draining for months now. months, not even months, maybe like the last 2 years. Just never complimented me ever, never said anything nice to me, constantly telling me things that I'm doing wrong, what I didn't do right, what I could have done a different way, why I didn't do something fast enough for her, and it's just every day I could never please her. No matter what I did, I got rid of that. So now I'm much happier. I don't have to deal with that so often. If y'all have any good tips for like helping a snake shed, it's like right here on his head. He's been having she's been having a hard time lately just shedding off of the head. And it's still like there pretty good. Like I tried pulling on it, maybe it would just like easily flake off. But I mean, it's still there, and I don't want to hurt her by tugging on it. But I want to help her get rid of that. So if anybody has any good advice on how to help a snake shed a little easier, I was gonna get some spray from the store, like Sheddies or something like that. But, if anybody has like any natural recommendations, inside of her tank, she's got a raw amethyst geode and some coconut bark. Kind of like terrarium, not soil, but like I don't know exactly what it's called, but with a sphagnum moss over it. A couple things to climb, a rough bark hide. So I feel like there's a lot of things for her to rub her head on. She's got a water bowl, about like that thick. So, I don't know. If you have any more suggestions, I would greatly appreciate it. If at least you even made it this far into the video. If you did, I really appreciate it. And, I apologize for being late on videos and not as frequent with videos. It's been really hard lately. There's just been a lot of things going on, and my ex's boyfriend wanting to send threats all because I'm just trying to get my trailer back and stuff. I don't know. It's been very stressful. My bank, I had a fraud recently, and then that kind of closed. It didn't close my account, but it blocked my account. Just crazy things. But anyways, I'm not going to carry this video on too long. A little bit about my life and a little bit about HRT. And I hope on that, everybody has a good day. And please, if you have any recommendations for like videos or something I could do a little better, please, feel free to give me any type of criticism. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Trust me, I get enough comments about people thinking what I'm doing is wrong. Don't really care. But please, if you have any comments or ideas for videos that you would like to see, I would very much appreciate it if you could let me know. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Everybody, thank you for watching, especially if you made it to this far again. I hope you have a good day. The cameraman's going to kind of camera out. Maybe. If I find out how to stop this thing. I think it's this button. No.